Well, it's time now to learn a little bit about John Ireland Funeral Home. I'm joined by John Ireland, and thank you for being along with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
You all are a family-owned business, and I guess you're a second generation.
Absolutely, absolutely. We started in 1995. January 1 of 1995 was when I opened the doors of the funeral home.
And your father had been in the business as well.
My dad he'd started out when he was 16 years old, back in the days when the funeral homes ran the ambulance business. And my goal was always to go in the funeral home. I guess how I got hooked on it is when I was little, he'd have an ambulance call, and I thought it was exciting to ride with him in the ambulance and blaze down the street with the siren going. And so I can remember as a child, not that he ever pushed me into it, but I look back now, I can remember even when I was 12 and 13 years old, my birthday cakes would have a hearse drawn on it that said Ireland and Son. So I kind of guessed that was the way he was pushing me into the funeral business.
You know, you have an interesting saying that is important to you, and it says that overspending is not a symbol of devotion. That's fascinating to me. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's correct. I thought when I put the funeral home in that a lot of funerals were being sold out to the large corporations. And it made me a little nervous for the fact that a lot of people were choosing cremation, not necessarily because they wanted to, but because of price. So I thought if we could put together a package that was reasonably priced, that was good value, that quality merchandise, and that a family would be happy when they left there. I always said I'd rather they tell the first 10 people, hey, Ireland's did them right, than tell the first 2,000, I never want to go through a financial burden like that again. So we came up with overspending is not a symbol of devotion, and it's just worked good for us.
Yeah. No one really wants to think about pre-planning their funerals, but it's just an intelligent, wise thing to do, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's amazing how the people that come into the funeral home to sit down and talk about funerals, when it's not what we call an expected death, it's something sudden, they're at a total loss. They don't even know where mom's, dad's bank accounts are, what life insurance they have, and it just eliminates a lot of worries. And actually, it saves them money when they prearrange because they're thinking more straight, or it's calmer times.
What kinds of things would you tell people who are going to come in to pre-plan a funeral? What sorts of things do they need to be thinking about?
Well, one is if they're a veteran, for example, we'll need their discharge papers to see if they qualify for some veterans benefits. I always think pictures paint 1,000 words about someone's life. Back when my dad was in the business, we never really did videos, but funerals have become more personal. And so I always tell people to bring some photos in, especially if grandchildren are involved. So when they come in, they just don't see maybe grandfather or dad just laying there in a casket. And they have those pictures there that kind of paint the memories for them.
It's very important, isn't it, to have a locally owned funeral home?
I think it's very important. You know, we have always been there to serve the families 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you call our funeral home, you always get someone connected to the funeral home. It's not going to be an answering service in Canada or Houston or New York City. It's going to be someone here from our funeral home.
And it's something that's personal, and it's very professional as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Not to mention we take pride in our community, and we always try to be involved in community activities. We invest locally, we bank locally, so I think that's very important.
Well, John Ireland, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit of a bird's eye view into your business and the importance of pre-planning.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And to get more information about John Ireland Funeral Home, just go to their website, which is johnirelandfuneralhome.com.